Welcome to Wallace Wire. Today, we're talking about the rapidly developing murder investigation involving Malaysian singer Namewee and Taiwanese influencer Iris Hsieh. This is, well, it's an extraordinary and pretty grim situation, really, for the whole entertainment scene across Southeast Asia.
It really is.
The case around Iris Hsieh's death, it's just taken this massive turn. It's vaulted from being this, tragic, mysterious incident.
Yeah, just a sudden death.
Exactly.
Mm.
To a full-blown crisis. The authorities, they've officially classified it now as a murder investigation, and that just changes everything, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. That procedural shift is probably the most critical thing for people to understand right now.
How so?
Well, moving from investigating a sudden death, which could mean anything, right? Natural causes, an accident, maybe an overdose, non-criminal stuff,
Right.
to a formal murder probe. That means the police believe they've found significant, compelling evidence. Evidence pointing towards, criminal intent.
Something deliberate.
Precisely. And the moment that classification changes,
Yeah.
the whole framework, the entire approach of the investigation, it flips.
And the immediate fallout from that flip is, well, identifying a suspect. This is where it just explodes, really. We need to be crystal clear here. Malaysian singer Namewee, he's been officially listed as a suspect in this active murder investigation.
And legally, the sources are identifying him not just as, like, a person of interest,
No.
but as the key person who last had contact with Iris Hsieh. That specific designation is immensely important.
Okay, why key person? What does that imply?
It implies the police have put together some kind of timeline, and that timeline points directly to him. He's the last link they have before the crime was discovered.
Right.
Now, look, it doesn't automatically mean guilt. We have to stress that. But it absolutely makes him the central figure they need to find. They need to talk to him, interrogate him, and then either clear him or potentially charge him.
And the public focus is just intense, isn't it? Because of who's involved. Namewee is, he's highly visible, often controversial here in Malaysia.
Very much so.
And Iris Hsieh, she was a popular Taiwanese influencer, big following. This isn't just some local crime story anymore.
No, it's blown up regionally. It's become a regional media frenzy, frankly.
Yeah.
And that puts enormous pressure on Malaysian law enforcement.
You can imagine.
And that pressure, you see, it directly affects how the police handle things, how they conduct their formal procedures. On November 4th, 2025, they didn't waste any time. They initiated formal arrest procedures.
So not just asking him to come in for questioning, an arrest procedure.
Correct. This is way past a quiet inquiry. It is now a high-priority manhunt for arguably one of the country's most famous or infamous personalities.
Okay, let's talk specifics on that manhunt then. We're, several hours into this formal process now, and the latest news is, well, it's crucial, isn't it?
It is.
There's been no official word of his arrest. Namewee is still at large. So the immediate question is, where is he?
Right. And we can actually use some technical facts here, the available data, to narrow that down quite a bit.
Like what?
Well, sources monitoring official immigration records, they've confirmed something important. There is no formal record showing Namewee has legally left Malaysia since this incident happened.
Wow. Okay. So no airport scan, no border crossing.
Nothing official, no. And what's fascinating about that is what it tells us about the police strategy right now.
Meaning, if there's no border crossing record, they're working on the assumption he's still inside the country.
Exactly. That's the logical conclusion. And that allows the police to focus all their manpower, all their resources domestically.
Makes sense.
They don't have to get into the weeds with Interpol yet, or international alerts, extradition treaties, none of that complexity for now. The entire operation is about internal containment and capture.
So speed, local intelligence, that's the priority.
Absolutely. It's actually a huge strategic advantage for the investigators if they can successfully execute that local search, of course.
And this isn't just us guessing, right? This status, the urgency of the search, it's been confirmed officially.
Yes, and confirmed at a very high local level, too, which shows, maybe a degree of transparency, but perhaps also the immense pressure they're under.
Okay, who confirmed it?
We have a direct statement on this, the District Police Chief Assistant Commissioner. He specifically confirmed to the media that as of 1:50 p.m. on November 4th, the police had not yet successfully apprehended Namewee.
1:50 p.m., so that's quite recent.
Very recent. And that confirmation, knowing the key suspect in a murder case is still actively being sought inside Malaysian borders, well, it dramatically raises the stakes for the police force. They really can't afford any mistakes here.
If we connect this back for a second, the shift from sudden death to murder, What kind of evidence, I mean, what would they need to have to justify issuing a murder arrest warrant for someone like Namewee? Especially if the main link is just being the last person seen with her.
That's a really important question for you listening to think about. For an investigation to be upgraded like that, to murder, the evidence usually needs to be pretty solid, likely physical and fairly unambiguous,
Something concrete.
something that points away from natural causes or simple accidents. It might be, say, preliminary toxicology reports showing something that shouldn't be there, a non-natural agent perhaps,
Or physical evidence.
or forensic evidence pointing to specific trauma, something non-accidental, something that couldn't have been self-inflicted, that kind of thing.
So it's unlikely they're just relying on circumstantial stuff like witness statements alone. They must have something tangible.
I would think so, yes. The decision to declare it a murder investigation, it carries massive legal weight, and it's subject to intense public scrutiny, political scrutiny too, especially with a figure like Namewee involved.
Yeah, the spotlight is huge.
So the police force, and specifically the assistant commissioner making that statement, they wouldn't likely initiate this kind of high-stakes manhunt without feeling they have strong basis,
Yeah.
probably rooted in those initial forensic findings.
And this brings us to the wider impact, doesn't it? This case is just dominating the news, not just here, but globally because of who they are. What does chasing such a prominent Malaysian celebrity mean for, like, public trust and justice here?
It's a major test, isn't it? When a high-profile person is involved, the whole idea of equal justice under law immediately comes under the microscope.
Right. Is everyone treated the same?
Exactly. The
Yeah.
public is watching incredibly closely. They want to see if the police treat Namewee with the same rigor and urgency as they would any other suspect,
Yeah.
any hint of leniency, or even just perceived delays in catching him.
Yeah.
That could easily feed into narratives about whether fame or influence buys you time, or maybe even preferential treatment. It becomes less about the crime itself sometimes, and more about how transparent and effective the system appears in a high-pressure situation like this.
It must put pressure on the government, too, surely. The focus shifts maybe from the mystery of her death.
To the efficiency of the state.
Yeah, to how well the institutions tasked with policing and protecting are actually working. The success or failure of this immediate manhunt is a massive political test for the local authorities involved.
That political angle is definitely crucial. Given the visibility of both Namewee and Iris Hsieh, the speed or lack thereof of the police in making an arrest will be scrutinized intensely by media here, by international media,
Everywhere.
everywhere. And the longer Namewee potentially remains at large within Malaysia, especially after that confirmation he hasn't left, well, the greater the pressure builds on the police leadership to explain why. Why haven't they contained him yet?
Okay, so let's just recap the absolute key points for you right now. The death of Iris Hsieh, officially an active murder investigation. That signals some kind of definitive forensic finding, most likely.
Correct.
Malaysian singer Namewee, named the key suspect, the central figure in the police timeline as it stands. And currently, he's the target of a high-priority domestic manhunt. Official immigration records strongly suggest he is still somewhere within Malaysia.
That sums up the critical facts as we know them right now.
So what's the final thought here? What should people be considering as this unfolds?
Well, I think the really provocative thing to consider is what happens next, legally speaking. If and when he is apprehended, the police clock starts ticking. They'll have a very specific, quite narrow window to build their initial case before they have to present something.
Right.
We know the evidence they have must be serious enough to justify calling it murder. But how quickly will his defense team react? What counterarguments or, mitigating circumstances might they introduce to challenge that police timeline, the one based on him being the last person in contact?
So the legal battle begins the second an arrest happens.
Instantly. That's when the next chapter really starts.
It certainly gives you a lot to think about as this really dramatic situation continues to develop. Remember to like and subscribe for more videos like this.